Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, here on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us for our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, deliver us from the wicked one. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us for our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not to temptation, deliver us from the wicked one. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. For thine is, oh yeah, the kingdom and the power and the glory, oh yeah, forever. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth, on earth, on earth, on earth. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth, on earth, on earth, on earth, on earth. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth, on earth, on earth, on earth.
Hallelujah. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done as it is on earth, as it is in Shamayim. All praises, honor, and great esteem unto the Most High Power, Yahuwah, Bahashem, Yahushua, HaMashiach, and to the 12 tribes of Israel who are scattered to the four quarters of the earth. I say Shalom, Wabaruki, which is peace and blessings. And I cannot wait to the day that the Most High brings us back together, and we are once again 12 tribes, one family, one nation, under the Most High Power, under one covenant. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
You are live and direct with your Akazaki Yahoo, and I am joined by my most esteemed Ak Kenanaya. Shabbat Shalom, Aki.
Hey, Shabbat Shalom, Maki. Shabbaton Yasharal. Kwam Yasharala.
Kwam Yasharala. Yes, rise, Israel. Rise, rise. Yes, indeed. We are back again, back in the book, back for the first time in the book of 2nd Maccabees. Finished up 1st Maccabees last night, and now we are in the book of 2nd Maccabees. We're going to get right directly to it and continuing some good information in the first book, some heartbreaking information as well. some history, a lot of history of our people and circumstances and situations. We were actually able to pretty much debunk the idea that the Maccabees were not Israelites. So based on what we read, uh, there's no evidence of such. So here we go. Second Maccabees, chapter number 1, verse 1. The brethren, the Yahudim, that be at Jerusalem in the land of Judea, wish unto the brethren, the Yahudim, that are throughout Mizraim, health and peace. Most High be gracious unto you, and remember his covenant, which he made with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, his faithful servants. And I give
Stop,
you, oh, what's that?
stopping right there real quick.
Go ahead.
You know, a lot of people want to dispel the rumor that the Yahudim are in the Kebulon, commonly known as Africa.
Mhm.
But here we're reading of this is evidently a letter, you know what I mean, sent to the Yahudim that are throughout Egypt.
Right.
Uh, and Egypt is in Africa.
Mhm.
You know, it's a Kebulon. So we know that throughout history, our ancestors ran oftentimes to Mizraim whenever there was trouble. And we know that there were Yahudim settlements throughout there.
Mhm.
So this is a passage on how our people were at one point in Mizraim and spread it throughout the continent.
Indeed, Aki. I mean, consider that, Israel itself is right there. It's
It
right
comes.
there. So, it makes sense that we would be in and out and through there. And then of course when we read outside of this book of Maccabees, everybody that we dealt with was Hamitic. And we had some Shemitic people as well. But they were all in that area, in that region. So but yeah, continuing here. Verse 3. And give you all the heart to serve him and to do his will with a good courage and a willing mind, and open your hearts to his Torah and his commandments, and send you peace, and hear your prayers, and be at one with you, and never forsake you in time of trouble. And now we be here praying for you.
Kanak.
Mhm.
So, you know, I'm thankful for being woke up, when I was. I
Mhm.
remember during the early years of me being in this walk, I would oftentimes hear, you know, brothers that were here in the United States refer to, you know, people who live over in the Kebulon as Hamites. And
Mhm.
true indeed, there definitely are a bunch of Hamites in Africa, but there's more Israelites in Africa than anywhere else in the world, you
Right.
know? So rather than belittling our people that are over there, we
Mhm.
should be praying for them as well, because they're going through trials and tribulations like we are here.
Indeed, Aki. 1,000%. Yeah, and we always got to lift up the whole body, the whole nation. Even our people who not, what I'm saying, dealing righteously with as they should. They still got to be lifted up in prayer, because the Most High can change that, in a matter of a moment.
Come,
So, in the twinkling of an eye. So,
indeed.
hallelujah. Continue in verse 7. What time at Demetrius' reign, in the 169 year, we, the Yahudim, wrote unto you in the extremities of trouble that came unto us in those years, from the time of Yason and his company revolted from the set apart land and kingdom, and burned the porch, and shed innocent blood. And we prayed unto Yahuwah, and were heard, and offered also sacrifices of fine flour, and lighted the lamps, and set forth the loaves. And now see that we have, it's like, and now see that you keep the Feast of Tabernacles in the month of the correct month. I don't know if that's the right, I don't think that's the right way.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
We're going to skip that. Verse 10. At 104 and 8 years, and the people of that were in Jerusalem and in Judea, and the council of Yehudis sent greetings and health unto Ashtabosilis,
Aristobulus.
Aristobulus, like you,
Mhm.
Aristobulus.
Yeah, this is another. It's another Greek name. You know what I mean? It kind
Yeah,
of reminds me of Aristotle.
yeah, right, yeah. Okay. Aristobulus, king of uh, Petu,
Ptolemy.
Ptolemy, Tolaki, uh, master, whatever, who was the stock of the anointed priests and the Yahudim that were in Mizraim. Oh, okay, so maybe he said he was the stock of the anointed priests. So maybe he was our people. I was
Yeah, Khan.
thinking it
Much
was
like
something.
much like how you and I refer to the apostle Shaul. The Gentiles called him Paul.
Yeah, yeah, kind, indeed, indeed, yes, indeed. Our people, a lot of our people today call him Paul because that's how they relate to him with the Gentile mindset. Indeed, good point. Verse 11. And so much that the Most High have delivered us from great peril, we thank Him highly, and have been in battle against the king. For He cast them out of the fight without the set apart city. For when the leaders came unto Persia, and the army with him that seemed invincible, they were slain in the temple of Na.
Well, I think that's pagan.
Okay, kind. Let's skip that. In the temple of some pagan thing, by the deceit of that pagan prince. For Antiochus, I'm glad I couldn't pronounce it. I'll praise it. Continuing. Verse 14. For Antiochus, as though he would marry her, came unto the place, and his friends that were with him to receive money in the name of a dowry, which went to the priests of the evil one, which sent forth, and he was entered with a small company unto the compass of the temple, and shut the temple as soon as Antiochus was come in, and opened a private door to the roof, and threw stones like thunderbolts, and struck down the captain, and hewed him in pieces, and smote off their heads, and cast them to those that were without. My goodness, that is an ambush. I mean, you bring you into a place, and all of a sudden the roof open up,
Mhm.
and you start getting struck from the top and don't know what's going on. My goodness. Verse 17. That's why you got to know who your enemies are, because when you don't know, you walk into a place and you thinking it's copacetic, and they already got a plan to take you out. Verse 17. Blessed be our power in all things, and who have delivered up the unrighteous. Therefore, whereas we are not purposed to keep the purification of the temple upon the 5 and 20th day of the month. Um, so for what is that? The tabernacles is in what, the seventh? Is that the seventh month?
Tabernacles is correct. Is a seventh month.
Okay,
Uh, 5 and 20.
okay.
This was dedication though.
Well, I remember earlier it said the feast of tabernacle.
Yeah, Khan. But in this verse 18, it's saying the 25th day of the month. Isn't that when they had it began uh dedicate Hanukkah?
Oh, okay. Is that what it? Okay. Well, maybe
I'm
that's what.
I'm almost certain, not,
Yeah.
but I could be wrong because I am kind of because we did read where they were saying that
Yeah.
tabernacle, but what I know is that he had missed when he rededicated the temple.
Mhm.
He was trying to really have a feast of dedication because they had missed it because they were at war.
Okay.
This is why it's also 8 days long.
Okay. Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. Well, I was thinking, 'cause I may have been mistaken when I read that earlier. I thought he was representing the Feast of Tabernacle, and then that's when I said I was going to replace this month, that C word that they got there, because I don't know what that is. I was just going to say the seventh month. But if it's the
I wonder, can we look it up real quick to see what the if that's the 11th month or the 10th month or if this is
let's
the
see.
7th month?
Yeah, let's see what that is. The month. Let's see what we show. The ninth month in in the Jewish calendar, table of calendars.
Hmm. So this wouldn't have been because that was the 10th month and the 25th day. So this would have been a month earlier.
Yeah. So we're saying the ninth. Yeah. Hmm. What? So yeah, I was looking for anything else that would show similar, but yeah, that's on what's Wikipedia,
Come
free dictionary, yeah, Wikipedia. Uh, wait a minute. No, that's going into something else. No, wait a minute. Hold up, the third month of the civil year, the ninth month of the. Oh, okay. What is this? Ecclesiastical year of the Hebrew calendar.
that was let me see because I had looked up to see that verse where and I think I sent it to somebody. Let me see if I can find it real quick.
Okay,
The
what
verse.
ecclesiastical year?
Well, I was looking for the verse. Oh, I'm wrong. I'm saying yeah. This is indeed dedication because I'm saying 10th month, but
Uh-huh.
I'm wrong with that. It was held the ninth month on the 25th day. So
Oh, okay.
this
This
is
is dedication.
dedication.
Okay, con. Okay, we good then. All right, so um, I'm just gonna replace that C word with the ninth month
Yeah,
then. So, all right, let's continue. Uh, verse 18. I'll start from the beginning. Therefore, whereas we are now purpose to keep the purification of the temple and 20 upon the 5th and 25th day of the ninth month, we thought it necessary to certify you, therefore, that you also might keep it as the feast of tabernacle. So that's what they were doing. They were comparing it to the feast of tabernacle at the beginning.
Mm-hmm. Con.
Gotcha. Okay. And the fire uh, which you gave which you gave us when uh, Nehemiah's
Mm-hmm.
uh, offered sacrifice. After that, he had built the temple and the altar. For when our fathers were led unto Persia, yeah, this is the northern kingdom. No, it's not. No, it's not. This is the southern kingdom. Our fathers were led out to Persia. And our priests, I'm thinking, instead of Persia, I'm just thinking, uh,
Babylon.
no, before Babylon, the
Oh, Assyrian.
Assyria. Yeah, that's what I was thinking,
You know,
Assyria.
here's the thing. Uh, so that wicked king from Assyria did take uh the northern tribes. He actually did take them to the land of the Medes and the Persians, though.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, he did. And then from there, they left from one of the rivers in Babylon and went to a Kebulon. But
Oh,
I do think that this is referencing. I don't know. I think that this is referencing Southern Kingdom, though.
Southern. Yeah, I believe so. I believe so. When I saw that Persia, I don't know, my mind jumped to Assyria instead of It put Persia in the place of Assyria for some odd reason. I guess because it didn't say Babylon. I guess
Mhm.
that's what my mind thought was thinking. So, continuing here, it says the priests that were then devout took the fire of the altar privately and hid it in a hollow place in the pit without water, and there kept it sure, so that the place was unknown to all men. So they actually kept the fire that the Most High had given. Wow, that's beautiful. Verse 20. Now, after many years, then it pleased the Most High, Nehemiah's being sent from the king of Persia, did send of the uh, posterity,
Posterity.
Tolaki, the posterity of the priests that had heeded to the fire. But when they told us to find no fire, but thick water, then commanded he them to draw it up and bring it up, and bring it. And when the sacrifice was laid on, Nehemiah commanded the priests to sprinkle the wood and the things that were laid thereupon with the water. And when this was done, and the time came that the sun shone, which aforetime was hid in the cloud, there was a great fire kindled, so that every man marveled. What? So sprinkling this water on this wood, and the sun came out, and the fire showed up.
Man, that's
Wow.
signs and wonders.
That's signs. That's a deed. I tell you right there that the Most High is with this thing.
Hmm.
Verse 23. And the priest made a prayer, uh, whether the sacrifice was consumed. I say, both the priests and the rest, Jonathan beginning, and the rest answered thereunto, as Nehemiah did. And the prayer was after this manner: O Yahuwah, Yahuwah power, creator of all things, who are fearful, and strong and righteous and merciful, and only the gracious and only and gracious King, to only giver, it's like the only giver of all things, the only just, almighty, and everlasting. You that deliver Israel from all trouble, and that do choose the fathers and sanctify them. Receive the sacrifice of your whole people, Israel, and preserve your own portion and sanctify it. Gather those together that are scattered from us. Deliver them that serve among the heathen. Look upon them that despise and are abhorred, and let the heathen know that you are our power.
That's right.
Hallelujah. Punish them that oppress us,
Hmm.
and with pride do us wrong. Plant your people again in this set apart place,
Hmm.
as Moses had spoken. And the priest sung psalms and thanksgiving. Now, when the sacrifice was consumed, Nehemiah commanded the water that was left to be poured on the great stones. And when this was done, there was a there was kindled a fire, but it was consumed by light and shine from the altar.
Okay. So if the Most High was displeased with this prayer to destroy those who oppressed him, this sign wouldn't have happened.
Right?
And I say that because so many of our people feel like we ought to be praying for these people who oppress us,
No,
but they're in error. Like, okay, when the Messiah is saying pray for those who abuse you, he's talking about Israelites that you consider to be your enemy. He's talking about
right.
your people. He's not talking about these other nations, man.
No, not at all. Not at all. He's talking about your brother who you have a problem with over something silly
God.
that you shouldn't even have a problem with. But things happen, and especially when you live among people, you tend to have conflicts. So when a conflict arises, That's the brother that you're supposed to be helping. That's the brother you should be praying for. That's the brother who ox, when your enemy ox go in a ditch, that's the brother who you want to help his ox get out the ditch. If
Mm-hmm.
it's your true enemy, somebody who seeks to kill you of your own out of a different nation, you wouldn't even deal with them in that manner. You would
Gone.
just put them down and take their ox.
Mm-hmm.
So, verse 33. So when this matter was known, it was told the king of Persia that in this place where the priests were led away had hid the fire, there appeared fire, it's like there appeared water, and that Nehemiah had purified the sacrifice wherewith. And the king enclosed the place and made it set apart. After he had tried the matter, and the king took many gifts and bestowed therefore on those who he had gratif- uh, gra- gra- he would gratify.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, and Nehemiah called this thing uh, Nepheret,
Neferthar.
Nephathar, which is Tolaki, which is much as to say a cleansing.
Mm-hmm.
But many men called it Nephthah. Nephthah. Look like Nephthah.
Yeah, Nephi.
Nephthah. Okay, sorry. Con- That was an interesting chapter.
Mm-hmm.
Right at the gate here. All right, continuing to Second Maccabees chapter number 2 and verse number 1. And it also found Slaki. It is also found in the record that Jeremy the
Mm-hmm.
prophet, sure that's referencing Yahoo,
Indeed, Doc.
indeed, yeah, commanded them that they should be carried away and commanded them that were carried away to take the fire as it had been signified. So, yeah, referencing that Jeremiah the prophet. Yeah, so that's Yahoo.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I was gonna say something else, and I forgot my train of thought. That's okay; it'll come back or not. Continue on verse 2. And how that the prophet gave had given them the Torah, charged them not to forget the commandments of Yahuwah, and that they should not err in their mind when they see images of silver and gold, then with their ornaments. Yeah, that sure is Yahoo. He talking about chapter 10.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get consumed in the way of the heathen.
That's right.
Yeah. Verse 3. And with others such speech exhorted he them in the law slacking, that the Torah should not depart from their hearts. It was also contended in the same writing that the prophet, being warned of the Most High, commanded the tabernacle and the ark to go with him, as he went forth in the mountain, as Moshe climbed up and saw the heritage of the Most High.
So
And then,
this is in the plains of Moab,
uh-huh,
uh, where Moshe was able to walk up and see the promised land.
indeed, we went over that plains of Moab and we looked at that who was Ruth video, and that was interesting stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
there's still brothers to this day say nope, that's not what it is. But I'm still interested in what else there could be. But continuing verse 5. And when Yirmiyahu came there, he had a hollow grave, wherein he laid the tabernacle and the ark and the altar of incense. And he stopped, and so stopped the door.
Right. So you got many people that hold fast to the belief that the Ark of the Covenant was taken to Cush or
Yeah.
Ethiopia. You
Hmm.
know, that's not what we read in Scripture.
No, not at all. Not at all. It's been buried and kept safe from the prying eyes of these heathens and so on and so forth. Uh, I think the only other logical explanation wouldn't be that it wouldn't be the Ark of the Covenant, because I saw a video actually last week after we finished, and it said that Solomon gave it to not Bathsheba, but uh, the queen of
Yeah, Queen of Sheba.
yeah, Queen of Sheba as a gift. Like, what kind of foolishness? You know
Yeah,
what? You know what the Abba would have done if you gave away the Ark of the Covenant to a heathen as a gift?
right.
I don't know who Abba Yah is.
Yeah, we would have learned about we would have read about there being a famine in Yashua during those times,
Mhm.
and it would have been a plague where thousands of our people would have died. You know.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. He would have. That would have been. Oh no, that would have not went well. Abba would have took that because we know how mad he was when it went to when they carried it out to battle, and it
Uh
got
huh.
taken by the Philistines.
Yeah, Con. The Apostle Shaul says, don't get carried away with foolish fables.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. That's exactly right. All right. Verse 6. And some of those that followed him came to mark the way, but they could not find it. Which when Yirmiyahu perceived, he blamed them, saying, "As for that place, it shall be unknown, until the time that the Most High gather his people again together and receive them unto mercy."
Hallelujah.
That's the plan. Hallelujah. Indeed. That is the plan.
Hmm.
So when we come back, we'll find the ark. It'll be us, Most High willing. It'll be us if we in that number to
Hmm.
find the ark. Whoever it is
Our
in our
children, it could be our children.
indeed. Praises to the Abba. Verse 8. Then show then shall Yahuwah show them these things, and the esteem or the glory of Yahuwah shall appear, and the cloud also, and it shall show unto Moshe. And when Solomon desired that the place might be honorably sacrificed, it was also declared that he be wise offered Slaki, that he being wise offered the sacrifice of dedication and of the finishing of the temple. And as when Moshe prayed unto Yahuwah, the fire came down from Shamayim and consumed the sacrifice. Even so, Solomon also, and the fire came down from Shamayim and consumed the burnt offerings. And Moshe said, because the sin offering was not to be eaten, it was consumed. So Solomon kept those 8 days. The same thing also was reported in the writings that contemporary of Nehemiah's. So that is reference in Nehemiah.
Con, huh?
Indeed, I didn't
Well,
realize.
see, this what this is it's almost a history lesson.
Yeah,
You know what I mean, that
yeah,
they're having, and
indeed,
they're talking about how these two feasts are similar 8-day feasts. One being Yah appointed, one being a memorial for
right,
when the Most High gave us a great victory.
indeed, indeed. I remember what I was going to say. Now, I was referencing the. It went away again. It went away again. Uh, okay. Yeah, I remember what I was going to say now because it was ironic because when we were reading that before, even the prayer was notated. So you talk about journaling and whatever the case. They even notated the prayer that was prayed. Like
Mm-hmm.
they had it verbatim. Like who was scribing? Was that scribe writing down everything that was being said? Like that's phenomenal. Like
Con.
it's almost like it was been recorded, but you know what kind of ear you gotta have and how quick your hand gotta be to write every word that's being said.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's even in the prayer. Like, yeah, phenomenal. Continuing. And how he continuing from right here, and how he founded the library, gathered together the acts of the kings and the prophets and of Dawid and the epistles of the kings concerning the set apart gifts. In like manner, also, Yehudis gathered together all those things that were lost by reason of the war we had, and they remained with us. Wherefore, if you had need thereof, send some to fetch them unto you. Whereas, slack you. Whereas we then are about to celebrate the purification, we are written unto you, and you shall do well if you keep the same days. So, look, it almost seemed like there was some kind of discrepancy
Mm-hmm.
in the days. So it's not unusual for us to have that. I guess because he's saying if you keep these same days, I hope you do it with us. So
Mm-hmm.
continue 17. Continue in verse 17. We hope also that the Most High that delivered all His people and give them all and give them all inheritance and a kingdom and the priesthood and the sanctuary, as He promised in the Torah, which will shortly have mercy upon us and gather us together out of every land under Shamaim unto the set apart place. For he have delivered us out of great troubles and have purified the space or the place like. So, man, they praying the same thing. Look, these prayers and this thinking is the same now as it was then.
It
And
comes.
this is pre-Hamashiach. This is
Mm-hmm.
pre-Messiah. So this is before, uh, probably right before. We probably about, I don't know. I hate to kind of put a timestamp on it, but we know if Hamashiach would have been just over 2,000 years ago, uh, this would have probably been.
I'm thinking between 200 and between 200 and 300 years before Mashiach.
You think 200 to 300? Okay,
Yep.
okay. I was thinking something close to that. Something close
Yeah,
to that.
because I want to say that the Greeks' captivity was, well, in between when we returned to the time of Mashiach was like 400 years or so.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And this, the last date that we heard of the Grecians was like 180, 175 or 177th year of such and such reign,
Right. Right.
something like that.
Yeah. 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 We saw it in the previous book. I'm sure we'll see that again in this book before we finish it in the next few readings here. But continuing, verse 19. Now, as concerning Yehuda's Maccabees and his brethren, and the purification of the great temple, and the dedication of the altar, and the wars against Antiochus Epiphanes, and uh, Euphrathar, his son,
You're a Patar.
Eupatar, his son, verse 21, and the manifest signs that came from Shamaim unto those that behave themselves manfully to the honor of uterism.
Yeah, but and that says Judaism, but remembering that this is Hellenized and
Right.
Greek based.
To the honor of the Yahudim. How about
Right.
that?
So when we see that word right there, we automatically think that that's off. All
Right.
these
That's
things
way
did,
off.
you know.
Yeah, because we know that's what that is. Well, I guess it's the way of the Yahudim, so it kind of makes sense. But it's been corrupted because we know that the people there are not keeping the way of the Yahudim; they're keeping their own way.
Con.
So it is what it is. Continuing, so that being but a few, they overcame the whole country and chased uh, Barbasus multitude. I guess that's a word for many or a great multitude.
Oh, but barbarous, like uh, barbarian.
Oh, that's what I was thinking, barbarian.
Yeah.
But I'm like OUS, barbarians.
Uh huh.
Yeah. Okay. Continuing. Verse 22. And recovered again the temple, renewed all the world over, and freed the city, and upheld the Torah, which were uh, which were going down, Yahuwah being gracious unto them with all favor. All these things I say, being declared by Jason, this is the
Cyrene.
Cyrene of Slakia, Jason of Cyrene, in 5 books. We will essay to abridge in 1 volume. So they talking about condensing his books from 5 to 1. Okay, verse 24. And considering the uh, infinite number, and the uh, difficulty which they find that desire to look into the narrations of the story, for the uh, variety of the matter. For the variety of the matter. Verse 25. We have been careful that they that will read may have delight, and that they are desirous to commit to memory might have ease, and that all unto it, Slaki, and that all unto whose hand it comes might have profit. Therefore, to us that have taken unto us the painful labor of abridging, it was not easy, but a matter of sweat and watching, even as it is no ease unto him that pertaineth a uh, blanket
Banquet.
banquet, and seeking the benefit of others. Yet for a pleasuring of many, we will undertake gladly the great pains, leaving to the author the exact handling of every particular, and laboring to find the rules of an abridgment. For as the master builder of the new house must care for the whole building, but he that undertaketh to send it out and paint it must seek out the must seek out fit things for the adorning thereof. Even so I know, even so I think it is with us. I stand upon every point and go over things at large, to be curious in particular belonging to the first author of the story, but to the use of
Brevity.
brevity.
I'm not sure what it means.
Yeah, we'll have to look that word up. Let's finish this one out. But to the use brevity, to avoid much labor of the work, uh, is to be is to be granted to him that will make an abridgment. Here then will Slaki, here then will we begin the story, only adding this much to I can't even get this out. Only adding this or thus much to that which have been said, that it is a foolish thing to make a long prologue and to be short in the story itself.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So saying a lot, but not really saying nothing.
right, a long prologue and then not even dealing with the
What happened?
right.
And I'm wondering if what they're talking about, this book and the putting together of this book is what we're reading now. These books of Maccabees. Perhaps they were figuring out what to call this book, and later on in time it became the first and second Maccabees. I'm wondering. I'm not sure about that, but
Yeah, I mean that's really what the consensus was, because that's really what the story was going for. Um, Ironically, so that word breviary is conscious or exacting use of words in writing or speech. Conscious and exact use of words in writing or speech. Shortness of time is the other, uh, and briefly of human life. So the shortness of it. Hmm. Interesting. All right. Continuing to chapter 3. Let's see what we have 46 minutes. All right. Chapter number 3, Second Maccabees, chapter number 3, and verse number 1. Now, when the set apart city was inhabited with all peace, and the Torah was kept very well because of the goodness of Onus, the high priest, and he hated his hatred of wickedness. That's what I said. We gotta hate the wicked. We gotta hate the evil.
mm-hmm.
Verse 2. It came to pass that when the kings themselves did honor the place and magnified the temple with their best gifts, and so much that I don't know who that is, something of Asia, Silius,
Seleucus.
Seleucus of Asia, of this
Celestius. I'm sorry, Celestius.
Celestius,
Celestius.
Celestius. Okay, Celestius,
Salakia. Seleucus. Seleucus.
Seleucus. Celestius sounds familiar. Seleucus, I don't know. I never heard that before. Continue. Of Asia, of his own uh, revenue, bear all the costs belonging to the service of the sacrifice. But one, Simon of the tribe of Benjamin, who was made governor of the temple, fell out with the high priest about disorder of the city. How you gonna fall out with the high priest? Come on, Benjamin.
Well, I mean, they might have been off, huh?
Yeah, I get it. I hope so. I hope that's what it was, and not uh, about disorder in the city. Somebody had to be off. I guess I don't know.
Yeah, and I don't know. Maybe it's saying that the high priest was upset with Ben Amin, the brother from Ben Amin, about what they were doing.
Yeah. All right. Continue. Verse 5. And when he could not overcome Onus, he got him to Apollos, his son, the son of man, these names getting on my nerve.
Thereseus.
Yes, yes. Now with the governor of Caesarea,
Syria. Yep, Syria.
Syria, and Phoenicia, and told him of the treasury of Jerusalem, of the treasury in Jerusalem, with
So, stopping right there, like right now, I realize that this brother from Ben Amin is off.
yeah. That's what I'm saying. How you gonna go at the priest? Like, come on, man. Usually the priest in the position because they, trying to do things right to a degree. Of course, with time of Hamashiach, I think it got different. So,
Mm-hmm.
Verse 6, and told him of the treasury in Jerusalem was full of infinite sums of money, so that the multitude of their riches, which did not pertain to the account of the sacrifice, was innumerable, and that it was uh, possible to bring all unto the king's hands. That's all you got to say to a so-called king, that they got money and you can get it. And you're like, oh, let's get it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's take it. Verse 7. Now when Apollonius came to the king and had showed him the money whereof he had told the king to choose out uh, Helidorus, Helidorus,
Helidorus, Khan.
Helidorus, all right, Tolaki, his treasurer, and sent him a commandment to bring him to bring him aforesaid money. So tell him, bring me the money. Verse 8. This is not your money though. Like
Right.
what kind of stuff is this?
Right.
Y'all just gonna come to Jerusalem and rob, of all places, Jerusalem?
Mm-hmm.
Verse 8. So forthwith Helidorus took his journey under the color of visiting the city of uh, Cilicia, Syria, and Phoenicia, but indeed to fulfill the king's purpose. And when he came to Jerusalem and had been continuously received or courteously received of the high priest of the city, he told him what intelligence was given to the money, what intelligence was given of the money, and declared wherefore he came, and asked if these things were so indeed. So, look, I'm almost not concerned. I'm almost curious if maybe this is a Yahudim uh, coming here, because it's ironic that he would be greeted, courteously received of the high priest of the city. So, would he courteously receive an outsider? I mean, I know.
Yeah, they had, remember Jonathan was breaking bread with them as well as Simon, his brother. They were being held in esteem by these Greek kings.
So he about to get robbed again
Yeah.
over the same stuff. I mean, come on, man. We gotta do better, Israel. We gotta do better. Verse 10. Look, I'm put off now. Like, this is
Mm-hmm.
ridiculous. Verse 10. And the high priest told him that there was much money laid up. Come on, man. For the relief of widows and fatherless children. Oh, my gracious. Verse 11. And that some of it belonged to Hyrcanus, son of Tobas, a man of great dignity, and was not that wicked Simon had manner misinformed, the sum whereof in all the 400 talents of silver and 200 of gold. So 400 talents of silver and 200. That's a lot. I'm thinking that's a lot. 400 talents of silver.
Mm-hmm.
I think equivalent. That's a whole lot. That's a whole lot of money. That's a whole lot of silver. And 200 talents of gold. That's a lot of gold too.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, we'll have to look at what a talent. I know we looked at that before, but I can't remember. We'll have to look at what a talent is. Continue in verse 12, and that it was altogether impossible that such wrong should be done unto them, that they had committed to the holiness of the place, or to the set apartness of the place, and to the majestic and invaluable Sanctu- uh,
Sanctity.
sanctity, Slacky. Look, I'm trying to say sanctuary. I'm like, no, that's not sanctuary. Sanctity of the temple, honored all over the world. But Heladorius, whatever his name is, uh, because the king's commandment given him, said that it would said that in any wise it must be brought unto the king's treasury. So at the day which he appointed to enter in the order of this manner, wherefore there was no small annoying throughout the whole city. So maybe he not gonna. Well, I kind of hate. I mean, it's not. You can't justify it. But maybe he not gonna. Evilly just rob him. He gonna give him a chance to hand it over. I don't know if that's worse, but I think if you ask for the money that's meant for the widows and the fatherless children, then we got a battle. So how many people he brought with him? Hopefully he didn't show. I know he didn't show up by himself. But yeah, they need to get the brothers, the bruise over here, and
Mm-hmm.
take this dude head off. Verse 15. But if they do that, then of course the king is going to be like, "Oh, you killed my messenger," and it'll be endless wars. But anyway, continue. Verse 15. But the priests prostrated themselves before the altar in their priestly vestments, called unto Shamaim upon him that made the law, the Torah concerning things given to he kept
I think that's to be kept, but
to
it's
be
a
kept.
misprint.
Yeah, it should be probably to be kept, and that they should safely be preserved for much as he commended them to be kept. Yeah, it was printed right there. Verse 16. Then whoso had looked, Slacky, then whoso had looked the high priest in the face, it would have uh, wounded his heart,
Uh-huh.
for his countenance and his changing of his color declared inward annoying of his mind. Verse 17. For the man who so compares the fear, Slacky, for the man who so compares with fear and horror of the body, that it was manifested to them that looked upon him with sorrow he had now in his heart. Others ran flocking out of their houses to the general supplication, but the place was like to come unto contempt. And the women girt with sackcloth under their breasts abound in the street, and the virgins were kept in Slaki, and the virgins that were kept in ran some of the gates, some to the gates, and some to the walls, and others looked out to the widows, and all, holding their hands toward Shammai, made supplication. Then it came to the pity, Slaki. Then it would have pitied a man to see the falling down of the multitude of all sorts, and the fear of the high priest being in so much and uh,
Agony.
yeah. So in the previous book, the high priest, the one that was made the high priest, this was the leader of the host.
Mm-hmm.
This was the brother that was the most warlike. You know what I'm saying? He was the man. In this case, they look like this priest that got soft. But when the old boy said, you need to come to the king's treasury, he should have took his sword out like over my dead body and let him know that hey, you ain't coming up in here just taking over nothing. Uh, you know, in the name of the power of Israel. Continuing verse 22. They then called upon El Shaddai, Yahuwah, to keep the things committed to of trust safe and sure for those that had commended themselves. Nevertheless, Herodotus executed that which was decreed. Devil. Now, as he was there presenting himself with his guard about the treasury, Yahuwah of spirit and the prince of all caused a great what is that
Apparition.
apparition? What does that mean?
That's like some type of vision. They getting ready to see like another sign.
Oh, kind. Okay, kind. So that I appreciate that. So that all that presumed to come in with him were astonished at the power of the Most High and fainted and were sore afraid. So look at verse 25. For there appeared unto them a horse with a terrible rider upon him, and abhorred and adorned with a very fair covering. And he ran fiercely and smote at and smote at Hellenius with his forefoot. And it seemed that he that sat upon the horse was completely harnessed of gold, had complete harness of gold. Wow. Verse 26. Moreover, two other young men appeared before him, notable in strength, excellent in beauty, and comely in apparel, who stood by him on either side and scourged him continually and gave him many sore stripes. Hmm. Talking about the man on the horse?
No, I'm talking about Heliodorus.
Oh, okay. Okay, kind. Okay. Verse 27. And Heliodorus fell suddenly upon the ground and was compassed with great darkness. And they that were with him took him up and put him on the into a litter. That's like a gurney, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Verse 28. Thus him that lately came with great train and with all his guards unto the treasury, they carried out, being able to help himself with his weapons and manifest the knowledge of the power of the Most High. Kind. You didn't realize
Yeah.
that Abba was there and saw what she was gonna do and decided to put you right down.
Mm-hmm.
So all praises to the Father. So yeah, look, I'm ready to pull the sword out, and he prayed, and here comes some supernatural help. Hallelujah. Verse 29. For he by the hand of the Most High was cast down and laid speechless without all the hope of life. But they praised Yahuwah that he that made Slaki, that had marvelously honored his own place for the temple, which a little afore was full of fear and trouble. And El Shaddai Yahuwah appeared and fulfilled the joy of and gladness, and was filled with joy and gladness. Slaki. Verse 31. And straightway, certainly to Helidorus' friends prayed honest that they could call upon the Most High and grant him his life, and laid ready to give up the ghost. So the high priest suspectedly lest the king should misconceive uh, the same treachery had been done to Helidonus by the Yahudim, offered a sacrifice for the health of the man. I don't know about that. I get it why he did it, but he thinking that the Yahudim, but they all the people was witness. They can say what happened.
Right.
If he died, it's not like they're gonna go back and say the Yahudim. Well, they probably would, honestly. They probably would. Like, they had some black magic or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 33. Now, as the high priest was made an atonement, the same young men in the same clothing appeared and stood beside Hellenonius, saying, "Give Onus, high priest, great thanks, inasmuch as his sake Yahuwah have granted you life." Mm. So he took him out, and then he gonna restore him again.
Man,
Tell him, you
man, this
better,
is awesome though. Signs and wonders,
all right, kind, yeah, it is. Verse 34. I'm ready to strike him. Just strike him. Verse 34. And seeing that you have been scourged from Shamaim, declared unto all men the mighty power of the Most High. And when they had spake these words, there appeared no more. And Hellenonus, after he had offered sacrifice unto Yahuwah, was made whole, vows unto him that he saved his life, and saluted Onus, returned with his host to the king. Then testified he to all men that of the great power, the works of the great power, which he had seen with his eyes. And when the king, Slacky, and when the king Herodes, who who might be a fit man to be sent uh, yet once again to Jerusalem, he said, "If you have an enemy or a traitor, send him." Send him. All right. If you have an enemy or a traitor, send him there, and you should receive him well scourged. If he escaped for his life, for in the place, no doubt, there is a special power of the Most High.
hallelujah.
Our praises, indeed, indeed. Let the heathen rave.
Uh-huh.
Verse 39. For he that dwelleth in Shamaim have an eye for that place, and defile it, and defendeth it, and his breath, and destroy them that come to hurt it. And the things concerning him, whatever his name is, and keeping the treasury fell out of his this sort. So yeah,
Man,
he
all
had
praise.
he learned his lesson.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed, praise to the Father. All right, you got it out.
Indeed, Aki.
Hold on.
All right, this is the book of Second Maccabees, chapter 4, verse 1. This Simon now, of whom we spoke afore, having been a betrayer of the money and of his country, slandered Onias, as if he had terrified Helodius, and been the worker of these evils. Thus was he bold to call him a traitor, that had deserved well of the city, and tended his own nation, and was so zealous of the Torah. But when he their but when their hatred went so far that by one of Simon's faction murders, let me start that again, verse 3. But when their hatred went so far that by one of Simon's faction murders were committed, Onias, seeing the danger of this contention, and that this guy, as being
Mhm.
the governor of Celesyria, and Phineas, did rage and increase Simon's malice. So Simon, was even more angry, after all of this.
Yeah.
Verse 5, he went to the king, not to be an accuser of his countrymen, but seeking the good of all, both public and private. For he saw that it was impossible that the state should continue quiet, and Simon leave his folly, unless the king did look thereunto. But after the death of Seleucus, 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 when Antiochus called Epiphanes took the kingdom, Jason, the brother of Onias, labored underhand to be high priest, promising unto the king by intercession. Okay, yeah, Khan. This is around the time where the high priests were no longer there because they were appointed by the Most High, but at this time they had began to receive the office by money and favor of the kings.
Gotcha.
All right, verse 8, promising unto the king by intercession 360 talents of silver, and of another revenue 80 talents. Besides this, he promised to assign 150 more if he might have license to set him up a place for exercise and for the training up of youth in the fashions of the heathen,
Mm,
and to write them of Jerusalem by the name of Antiochians.
mm,
So yeah, man, this is when our people are still trying to be Greek, man.
mm-hmm.
He's
Yeah.
a place to exercise. You call that a gym,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Right. Right. Gymnasium. Yeah. So, uh, what? How do people get so far off of it? I don't understand.
All right, verse 10. Which when the king had granted, and he had gotten into his hand the rule, he forthwith brought his own nation to Greekish fashion.
Mm,
Still alive today, and present among the captives.
mm-hmm.
Speaking about our people here in this continent,
Right.
we're a part of these Greek letter organizations.
Indeed.
Verse 11. Oh, Salak, you had something?
I was just agreeing. Indeed.
All right, verse 11. And the royal privileges granted of special favor to the Yahudim by the means of Yehukanan, the father of, or John, the father of Elopolemus, who went ambassador to Rome for amenity and aid, he took away, and putting down the governments which were according to the Torah, he brought up new customs against the Torah. So you try to tell our people to follow the Torah, and
Right.
it's like, now, we're gonna follow the laws of this country. We're
Indeed.
gonna pretty much do what we want.
Right.
Verse 12. For he built gladly a place of exercise under the tower itself, and brought the chief young men under his subjection, and made them wear a hat. Now, such was the height of the Greek fashions, and increase of heathenism manners, through the exceeding profaneness of Jason, that unrighteous wretch, and no high priest. So he gained the office, but it's really no high priest, man.
No,
It's not really in you.
no, no, he's not doing the way that he should.
Con. Verse 14, that the priests had no courage to serve any more at the altar, but despising the temple and neglecting the sacrifices, hastened to be partakers of the unlawful allowance in the place of the exercise, after the game of discus called them forth. So they're not trying to do their job, their role as priests and as ministers, tending to the sanctuary, to the temple. They rather be a part of this Greek culture.
Yeah. I wonder what this game of discus is. Is that like what we call? What's that one that go with shot put?
Yeah, I think that's the same thing. The
Okay.
discus event. Yep.
Okay. I thought that.
All right. Verse 15. Now, setting by the honors of their fathers, Salakia, not setting by the honors of their fathers, but liking the glory of the Grecians best of all.
Mm-hmm.
If it ain't right, it ain't white.
Right. God.
By reason whereof sore calamity came upon them, for they had them to be their enemies and avengers, whose custom they followed so earnestly, and unto whom they desired to be like in all things. You
Mm.
know, I saw you make a post earlier on this week about all of these pagan holidays that our
Mm-hmm.
people will show up to the table for, and
Mm-hmm.
then there was an empty table for Pesach. You
Mm-hmm.
know,
Uh,
the table's empty when it comes to that. You know,
right.
so this is pretty much what you're saying right there. You know,
Mm-hmm.
forbearing what is in our inheritance, what our forefathers, our ancient ancestors did. You know, taking on the customs of the nation that we're in now.
Right.
You know, we're off for doing so.
Indeed, Aki.
All right. Verse 17. For it is not a light thing to do wickedly against the Torah of the Most High, but the time following shall declare these things. You know, so our actions have a consequence,
Indeed.
always have. And he told us that from the jump.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 18. Now, when the game that was used every faith year, and you know, it says faith year,
Mm-hmm.
I wonder, is that fourth year? Because that's when we see the Olympics every 4 years.
I bet you it is, indeed.
All right. Now, when the game that was kept every 4 years was kept at Tyrus and being present, Slaki, the king being present, this ungracious Jason sent special messengers from Jerusalem, who were Antiochians, to carry 300 drams of silver to the sacrifice of this dude,
Yeah.
with even the bearers thereof thought fit not to bestow upon the sacrifice, because it was not convenient, but to be reserved for other charges.
You know, it really sucks because I know exactly who that is. I know who he is. I know where he came from, and I know a lot more about him than what I should know. But when we're reading this, some of this stuff I'm getting for the first time. So the history of my own people, I don't know. But when I see that name, I know exactly who that cat is.
Uh-huh.
That's 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 beyond frustrating.
It shouldn't be.
All right.
All right, so
That's,
like y'all.
yeah, yeah.
All right. Verse verse 20. This money then, in regard of the sender, was appointed to this evil one's sacrifice, but because of the bearers thereof, it was employed to the making of galleys. Now, when this wicked cat, or this deity's name that I don't want to
Mm,
speak,
right.
the son of Menatheus, was
Mm,
sent into Mizraim for the coronation of the king Ptolemy Philometor. Antiochus, understanding him not to be well affected to his affairs, provided for his own safety, whereupon he came to Joppa, and from thence to Jerusalem. Verse 22. Where he was honorably received of Jason and of the city, and was brought in with torch alight, and with great shoutings, and so afterward went with his host unto Phoenix. 3 years afterward, Jason sent Menelaus, the aforesaid Simon's brother, to bear the money unto the king, and to put him in the mind of certain necessary matters. But he being brought to the presence of the king, when he had magnified him for the glorious appearance of his power, got the priesthood to himself, offering more than Jason by 300 talents of silver. So, you know, it's no longer by Yah appointment, it's by how
mm,
much money you can give this cat.
yeah.
Verse 25. So he came with the king's mandate, bringing nothing worthy the high priesthood, but having the fury of a cruel tyrant, and the rage of a savage beast.
I
I
love how
mean,
this
they
is
brought it
written.
on themselves, you know.
Yeah. I love how this is written. I love how it's straight direct, like no sugarcoat. yeah, these devils and they wicked, and yeah,
Con. Verse 26. Then Jason, who had undermined his own brother, being undermined by another, was compelled to flee into the country of the Ammonites.
wow.
So Menelaus, oh, you had something, Mark?
I was saying, wow, like how you gonna go to the Ammonites?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Con, people who have oppressed us in antiquity as well,
Right, right,
Verse 27. So Menelaus got the principality, but as for the money that he had promised unto the king, he took no good order for it, albeit Sosistrates, the ruler of the castle, required it. For unto him appertaineth the gathering of the customs, wherefore they were both called before the king. Now Menelaus left his brother Lysimachus in his stead in the priesthood, and Sostratus left Crates, who was governor of the Cyprians. While those things were in doing, they of Tarsus and Maulus made insurrection, because they were given to the king's concubine called Antiochus. Then came the king in all haste to appease matters, leaving Andronicus, a man in authority, for his deputy. Now Menelaus, supposing that he had gotten a convenient time, stole certain vessels of gold out of the temple and gave some of them to Andronicus, and some he sold into Tyrus and the cities round about. You know,
right.
this cat is off. Giving your precious jewels to swine, man.
He absolutely crazy. He must not know what happened to Babylon.
Uh huh. Come. Verse 33. Which when Onias knew of a surety, he reproved him, and withdrew himself into a sanctuary at Daphne that lieth by Antiochia. Wherefore Menelaus, taking Andronicus apart, prayed him to get Onias into his hands, who being persuaded thereunto, and coming to Onias in deceit, gave him his right hand with oaths, and though he was suspected by him, yet persuaded him to come forth of the sanctuary, whom forthwith he shut up without regard of justice. Don't trust him, man. Don't
Right,
trust him. Verse 35. For the which cause not only the Yahudim, but many also of other nations took great indignation, and were much grieved for the unjust murder of the man.
mm,
And when the king was come again from the places about the Sicilians, the Yahudim that were in the city, and certain of the Greeks that abhorred the fact also, complained because Onias was slain without cause. Therefore Antiochus was heartily sorry, and moved to pity, and wept because of the sober and modest behavior of him that was dead. And being kindled with anger, forthwith he took away Andronicus's purple, and rent off his clothes, and leading him through the whole city unto the very place where he had committed impiety against Onias, there slew he the cursed murderer. Thus Yahweh rewarded him his punishment as he had deserved.
indeed.
Now, when many sacrilege had been committed in the city by Lysimachus, which with the consent of Menelaus, and the fruit thereof was spread abroad, the multitude gathered themselves together against Lysimachus, many vessels of gold being already carried away. Whereupon the common people rising and being filled with rage, Lysimachus armed about 3,000 men, and began first to offer violence, and one Aranas, being the leader, a man far gone in years and no less in folly. They seeing the attempt of Lysimachus, some of them caught stones, some clubs, others taking handful of dust that was next at hand, cast them all together upon Lysimachus and those that sat upon them. Thus many of them they wounded, and some they struck to the ground, and all of them they forced to flee. But as for the church robber himself, him they killed beside the treasury. Of these matters therefore there was an accusation laid against Menelans. Now when the king came to Tyrus, 3 men that were sent from the Senate pleaded the cause before him. But Menelans, being now convicted, promised Ptolemy the son of Dormenes to give him much money if he would pacify the king toward him. Whereupon Ptolemy, taking the king aside into a certain gallery, as it were to take the air, brought him to be of another mind. So he's changing his mind, pleading with him.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 47, insomuch that he discharged Menelans from the accusations, who notwithstanding was cause of all the mischief, and those poor men, who, if they had told their cause, yea, before the Scythians, should have been judged and innocent, them he condemned to death.
Mm.
This is probably just the beginning of a rough time.
Right.
Verse 48. Thus, they that followed the matter for the city and for the people and for the set apart vessels did soon suffer unjust punishment. Wherefore, even they of Tyrus, moved with hatred of the wicked deed, caused them to be honorably buried. And so, through the covetousness of them that were of power, Menelans remained still in authority, increasing in malice, and being a great traitor to the citizens.
Mm.
All right.
Man, evil guy.
Indeed, Doc.
Mm-hmm.
All right. This is the second book of Maccabees, chapter 5, verse 1. About the same time, Antiochus prepared his second voyage into Mizraim. And then it happened that through all the city, for the space almost of 40 days, there were seen horsemen running in the air in cloth of gold and armed with lances like a band of soldiers,
Mm.
and troops of horsemen in array, encountering and running one against another, with shaking of shields and multitude of pikes, and drawing of swords, and casting of darts, and glittering of golden ornaments, and harnesses of all sorts. Wherefore every man prayed that the apparition might turn to good. Now when there were gone forth a false rumor, as though Antiochus had been dead, Jason took the least of 1,000 men, and suddenly made an assault upon the city. And they that were upon the walls being put back, and the city at length taken, Menelaus fled into the castle. But Jason slew his own citizens without mercy,
Mm.
not considering that to get the day of them of his own nation would be a most unhappy day for him, but thinking they had been his enemies and not his countrymen who he conquered. Howbeit, for all this he obtained not the principality, but at the last received shame for the reward of his treason, and fled again into the country of the Ammonites.
Mm.
In the end thereof, he had unhappy return, being accused before Aretas, the king of the Arabians, fleeing from city to city, pursued of all men, hated as a forsaker of the Torah, and being had in abomination as an open enemy of his country and countrymen, he was cast out into Mizraim. Thus, he that had driven many out of their country perished in a strange land, retiring to the Lacedaemonians, and thinking there to find secure by reason of his kindred. And he, Slakia, go ahead.
So he was a Yahudim.
Yeah, he was indeed, but a wicked one. That's why I'm
Mm-hmm.
not calling him Jason. I'm calling him
Right.
Jason, man.
Jason, yeah, like Jason Voorhees.
Indeed.
Indeed.
Verse 10. And he that had cast out many, I just read, Salaki, verse 10. And he that had cast out many unburied had none to mourn for him, nor any solemn funerals at all, nor sepulchre with his fathers. Now, when this that was done came to the king's car, he thought that Judea had revolted. Whereupon, removing out of Mizraim in a furious mind, he took the city by force of arms, and commanded his men of war not to spare such as they met, and to slay such as went up upon the houses. Thus there was killing of young and old,
Mm.
making away of it says making away, it should be taking away of
Mm-hmm.
men, women, and children, slaying of virgins and infants.
Oh my gracious.
And there were destroyed within the space of 3 whole days 80,000. So that's 80,000 people perished in 3 days,
Mm.
whereof 40,000 were slain in the conflict, and no fewer sold than slain.
Mm.
So 40,000 perished by the sword, another taken into captivity, another
Mm.
40,000 taken into captivity.
My gracious.
Verse 15. Yet was he not content with this, but presumed to go into the most set apart temple of all the world, Menelans, that traitor of the Torah, and to his own country, being his guide. Yeah. Verse 16. And taking the set apart vessels with polluted hands. He's not even supposed to be in that place, man, at all.
Mm-mm.
And with profane hands pulling down the things that were dedicated by other kings to the augmentation and glory and honor of the place, he gave them away. And so haughty was Antiochus in mind that he considered not that Yahweh was angry for a while for the sins of them that dwelt in the city, and therefore his eye was not upon the place.
Mm.
For had they not been formerly wrapped in many sins, this man, as soon as he had come, had forthwith been scourged and
Mm-hmm.
put back from his presumption, as Heliodorus was, when whom Seleucus the king sent to view the treasury. So,
Right.
if we had been doing right, it would have been the same thing would have happened when this wicked man went into the temple.
Indeed. Indeed. This doggone. Oh, that's the worst because this is one I own, and he done betrayed not only the Yahudim, he done betrayed the Most High.
Okay. Verse 19. Nevertheless, the Most High did not choose the people for the place's sake, but the place for the people's sake. And therefore, the place itself that was partaker with them of the adversary that happened, Slakia, adversity that happened to the nation, did afterward communicate in the benefits sent from Yahweh. And as it was forsaken in the wrath of the Almighty, so again, the great Yahweh being reconciled, it was set up with all glory. So when Antiochus had carried out of the temple 1,800 talents, he departed in all haste unto Antiochia, weening in his pride to make the land navigable, and the sea passable by foot, such was the haughtiness of his mind. So he was trying to pretty much make a dam where he could pass over the water by foot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah, making it yeah, that's the only way you would be able to make the sea passable by foot, by putting up a dam.
Yeah.
Verse 22. And he left governors to vex the nation at Jerusalem, Philip for his country at Figurin, and for manners more barbarous than he had set him there, than he that set him there, and at Gerizim and Andronicus, and besides Menelans, who worse Then all the rest bear a heavy hand over the citizens, having a malicious mind against his countrymen, the Yahudim. He sent also that detestable ringleader, this evil cat, with an army of two and 20,000, commanding him to slay all those that were in their best age, and to sell the women and the younger sort, who coming to Jerusalem and pretending peace, did forbear to the set apart day of the Sabbath. When taking the Yahudim, keeping the set apart day, he commanded his men to arm themselves, and so he slew all them that were gone to the celebrating of the Sabbath, and running through the city with weapons, slew great multitudes. But Yehudis Maccabees, with 9 others, and thereabout, withdrew himself into the wilderness, and lived in the mountains after the manner of the beast, with his company, who fed on herbs continually, lest they should be partakers of the pollution.
So this is backtracking.
Yeah, Khan, indeed. I kind of got lost there,
Yeah.
but it's given us a greater account, because when we
Mhm.
read First Maccabees and Judas Maccabees, we didn't hear all of the evil cats' names,
Right.
but this is giving an account of those names, so almost a more detailed story.
Yeah. Yeah. When he said mentioned Yehudis in chapter 5, I thought, oh, this is this ain't going forth.
Hmm. That was it, wasn't it?
Yeah. I was hearing some noise outside. I'm trying to see what's going on. But yeah, that's what it was. So uh yeah, so I think as we get further into this particular text, we'll find more about those situations that got us in the worst predicament, where the Abba, withdrew itself from us and put us, left us in the hand of the wicked. So I think when we came to the end there, I think that was a first of the first book. I think that was pretty much it. This may just be kind of a highlight of those things and giving more information. But yeah, I love the way it's written. I love how it's so direct, and I know I mentioned that before. Um, but man, yeah, I know we'll get to the story of the woman and her children that were slain, and those details. That'll be a hard read, but you know, uh, just something to remind us that we are accountable to our power, and in all of this, this is to remind us that we are accountable to our power, and that without Him we can do nothing,
Hmm.
and without Him, we're subject to evil, to the evil of man. So you know, don't get caught up in that, and don't let you know your will to want to be your own person, put you in a place where you comes under the wrath of the power, because
Hmm.
His wrath is not to be taken lightly. And when it comes down, it comes down. It don't come light. It comes down hard. So that's all I got. I go ahead.
Khan, all praises to the Most High that this was recorded.
Mhm.
Uh, you know, definitely for our learning. Uh, and we see another downfall. A continuing downward spiral for our people that we wouldn't bounce back from uh, until the days Mashiach was walking. Right. So
Mhm.
when Mashiach was walking the earth, he looked upon the people with great pity, because he said that we were scattered, like scattered sheep without a shepherd. Yeah, without a shepherd. This is how it happened. This is how we became to be sheep without a shepherd.
Mhm.
From the acts of men who valued money and power and position over being pleasing in the sight of the Most High. So that's definitely a lesson in this as well. Not seeking power, not seeking a position or money, uh, not desiring to fit in with other people,
Mhm.
understanding that we have a rich heritage, a rich culture, wanting to return. We need to want to return to that, and be pleasing in the sight of the Father, man. All
Right.
praises to the Most High.
Hallelujah. All praises. Yes, indeed. All right. With that, we're going to close out right here. Praises to the Abba for another Sabbath Yom, even though the Sabbath is gone down and now we are into the evening. So, praises to the Abba. Nevertheless, we're going to close with the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter number 12 and verse number 13. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear the Most High and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. It is so very important that we understand that we are to keep the uh, fear the Most High and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty. This is the reason that we are here. And at the end of the day, when it is all said and done, we will be judged through all our life on whether we feared the Most High and kept his commandments. Why? Because this is the whole reason that we were made. I am your Akazaki Yahu, joined by my most esteemed Ak Kenaniah, giving all praises, honor, and great esteem unto the Most High Power, Yahuwah Bahashem, Yahushua Hamashiach, and to the 12 tribes of Israel who are scattered to the four quarters of the earth. I say shalom, Wabaruki, that is peace and blessings. And I cannot wait to the day that the Most High brings us back together, and we are once again 12 tribes, one family, one nation, under the Most High Power, under one covenant. Until that day, shalom, family.
Shalom, shalom, Miss Pakai.
Hallelujah. Praise